guys, welcome back. So today's video is going to be a foundation review. I have been trying so many foundations lately. I feel like I'm always in the market for a new foundation. Even if I have a foundation that I really love, I always think there's something out there that's better than the one that I'm trying. So I am always trying new foundations. The foundation that I'm going to be reviewing today is the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte Foundation. This is supposed to be a 24-hour foundation, so it's supposed to last up to 24 hours, which I don't know who would ever wear a foundation for 24 hours, but if you needed to, this claims to do it. It also claims to be a demi-matte finish, air light, and oil-free. This is what the packaging looks like. It's a squeeze tube, which I am a huge fan of. It reminds me a lot of the Makeup Forever Matte Velvet Plus foundation in the squeeze tube. Very similar packaging. The only thing with this packaging is that it's very, very hard to tell your shade when you are looking in the store to purchase it, because the color that is coming through right here is very, very similar on every single shade in the store. So it makes it very difficult to pick out your shade. So if you are interested in this foundation, definitely be sure to look up swatches online and try to do a comparison, because it's very hard to tell in the store. Other than that, I absolutely love the packaging. I love that it's a squeeze tube and you can squeeze out the amount that you want on the back of your hand or directly on your brush or however you're going to apply it. I love that you have that control. I also love that it's very sleek and easy to travel with. You can throw this in your purse, your suitcase, your travel, whatever you carry. Is very, very easy, and it's not going to break or bust on you. So I really like that about the packaging. This retails for around $12.99, I believe, in most places. It just depends on where you live. I'm sure it's a little cheaper and a little higher in some locations. But I do believe that it's on the L'Oreal website for $12.99. And I'll quickly give you a little rundown on my skin type in case you are new to my channel. I have dry skin for the most part. It is a little combination. I do break out and have acne breakouts. I also have a weird hormonal situation going on in my body. So basically my body acts like it is going through menopause while it's pregnant at the same time. And no, I'm not pregnant and I'm not at the age to be in menopause. It's just my hormones. So my skin is just basically crazy. So my skin is just very temperamental and very sensitive to certain things. I don't have really sensitive skin where I just break out to anything that I put on my skin, but my skin is dry and I do tend to break out. So that's just a little rundown on my skin. I also do have a lot of pores here, and I do have sun damage on my skin in this area and along here. I have sunspots and I do have quite a bit of freckling going on here. So I just wanted to give you kind of like a little rundown on my skin before I actually get into telling you why I do like it or I don't like it, so that you guys kind of know based on what your guys' skin is like. I'm going to also insert a demo of me applying this on my skin. I did one side with the Sigma F80, which is just basically a flat top kabuki brush that looks like this. These are great because they're nice and dense and they give you a good amount of coverage because they really pack the color or the foundation onto the skin. So this is one of my favorite ones to use when I'm going for more of a full coverage look. Plus it doesn't leave it really streaky on my skin. The other tool that I use is the Beauty Blender. I love using this on a day-to-day basis just because it is a dampened sponge. You put this under the water, you squeeze it out, and then you apply your foundation with it. And since I do have dry skin, this just works to add a little bit more moisture to the foundation. It applies my foundation so beautifully, and it just leaves a nice airbrush look to the skin. It makes everything blend in really seamlessly. So I'm a huge fan of the Beauty Blender, and I use that on the other side of my face that you will see in the demo. I didn't talk through the demo. I may add it through as I'm talking here. I haven't really decided yet, and I'm trying to play with editing and trying to get good at that. It's a process though. So however I do it, you guys will see me applying it to both sides of my face. I will say, hands down, I like it with the Beauty Blender a lot better. So this is what the foundation looks like once I have the rest of my makeup over top of it. If you are someone with oily skin, you could get away with using the Sigma F80 or a brush to apply it. But if you are someone with drier skin, you're definitely 100% going to want to use it with the Beauty Blender. If not, it is going to cling on to dry patches and it is going to probably come off a little patchy. It did for me anyways. It didn't go on as even as a beauty blender. I don't find the foundation to be really flat or dulling on the skin. However, if you do have extremely dry skin or even dry skin, I highly suggest that you moisturize before you apply foundation. I do it with any foundation, but especially with this foundation. If you don't, it's going to stick to your dry patches for sure. Also, if you have mature skin, I do think that this would settle into fine lines and wrinkles, so I probably wouldn't recommend it for you. And also, be sure not to put it under your eye area because it will go into all of those lines under there, because everyone has these little bitty fine lines under their eyes, and it'll definitely just cling on. And I'm thinking when I did apply the foundation the other day, I dabbed it just, you know, whatever I had left under my eyes, which I normally do with foundations that are more luminous. But my under eyes looked like it was Halloween, and I looked dead and crusty and disgusting under my eyes. So be sure to only take the foundation like right to here. Don't go all the way up under your eyes because it is a creepy, crusty situation if you do that. Also, if you are someone with large pores, I recommend that you use a primer for sure. If not, this is going to accentuate your pores. Because it is more of a semi-matte finish, which leans more on the matte side. It is going to just settle into your pores. For me, I do have larger pores right here, and they are definitely visible with this foundation. I always have to go in with something like the Bye Bye Pores by It Cosmetics and go over the top. It still doesn't completely take it away because my skin is really dehydrated because it is dry. So putting something matte on top of it just makes it pop out even more. So yes, if you have larger pores, just beware of that. Make sure you use a primer that is specifically for pores. I did make a list of things to tell you guys because I didn't want to forget anything. It doesn't feel sticky on the skin. It actually feels just like a nice powdery finish without applying any setting powder to it. So that's a good thing. I wanted to quickly mention that this foundation is awesome to mix with other foundations. So if you are someone with dry skin or you are someone with oily skin that wants to mix this foundation, let's say that you want just a little bit more luminosity to the skin, you can put in your favorite luminous foundation in with this and you will get a beautiful result. I absolutely love mixing this with the Perricone MD No Highlight Highlighter or No Highlighter Highlighter, something like that. It's beautiful. It also looks amazing with the L'Oreal True Match Lumi foundation. I also noticed that this foundation doesn't really transfer, so that's good. It does transfer a little tiny bit, but not too much where it would be annoying, I guess. It's like you were to give someone a hug, it doesn't really transfer on there. If you really rub it, it's gonna come off. But I wore it the other day when I was trying on clothes at the mall, and it didn't have a problem with it transferring on any of the clothes that I was trying on. So that's a good thing because, like I said, it does have more of a powdery finish to it, so it pretty much stays put on the skin. Also, I did not notice any oxidization to the foundation, so that means it doesn't turn orange over time or have an orangey tint to it. It does definitely warm up to the skin, which puts me into my next point, which is that I actually really like this foundation after it's been on my skin a little bit, and my oils start to just break through a tiny bit. So if you are someone that has drier skin, when you apply it, you might not like it right at first because the very first time I applied this, I was like, my face looks disgusting. I look so dry, especially for someone that is used to wearing more of a luminous foundation. This was a big shock for me. It's like, oh, where's my luminosity? But if you let it sit on your skin for a while, it is gorgeous. I wore this the other day and it was like probably like 85 degrees out. The humidity was like 100%, and I was outside all day. We were shopping in and out of stores, and we even worked outside in the yard. Tim even commented on my makeup and was like, your makeup is still on. It's still, you know, in place and it hasn't moved, and the color looks really pretty on you. So that's a big shock for, you know, a guy to notice that your makeup's still on after you've been working out in the yard. And, you know, he was like, that foundation looks really good. Is it something new? So I definitely prefer this foundation when it's on a while. I like my oils, the oils that I do have, I guess I would say, in my skin, to kind of seep through, and it just makes the foundation look really pretty. If you are someone with very oily skin, you might have to powder with this because, like I said, I do like it when my oils kind of break through and my skin's dry. So if you're someone with oily skin and you're in the heat of the day or working outside or just being outside in general, you may need to powder with this because you probably could start to look greasy after time. But for us dry skin girls, it's awesome if you're wearing it outside for a long day. And I also kind of mentioned that it lasts all day long, and it truly does. Like, this foundation stays put on the skin and it just lasts. And my blush still looks really great on top of it. All the makeup that I put on top of this foundation just looks beautiful over time. And again, I like this foundation as I wear it throughout the day. So if you have somewhere to go, put your foundation on maybe like an hour or two before, let it just kind of cook on the skin, and it'll be beautiful for whenever you have to go out of the house or go wherever you're going. I just really prefer this foundation over time. It does have the whole 24-hour claim. I've obviously never worn this for 24 hours. I probably don't wear a foundation over 12 hours at the most, but I did wear this for a full 8-hour workday, and it was gorgeous. It lasted, didn't budge, so I definitely think it is a long wearing foundation. I don't think I mentioned the shade that I was in. I am in the shade, well, if I could find it, I'm in the shade 103 Natural Buff, and I believe that there are 12 shades in the entire range, which is, it's okay. It's not the biggest selection of colors. I did notice it caters more to olive and yellow skin tones, which is awesome for people that do have yellow and olive skin tones, because it is very hard to find great drugstore foundations for yellow and olive skin tones. I myself really prefer more of a yellow or olive undertone to my foundations. I just feel like it looks better on my skin, and I don't know, I just really like it, so that's actually really exciting for me. Again, the shade that I got was 103 Natural Buff. I did pick up 105 as well. 105 was just a little too warm for me. 103 just seems to match me pretty darn well, especially if I have a light self-tan going on. The shade is perfect for me. I always prefer my foundations to be a little tiny bit lighter versus a little darker than me, because I can always bronze up. With a darker foundation, I just tend to look more aged. So I always rather go lighter than darker. As far as the way that it feels on the skin, it doesn't feel heavy, it doesn't feel cakey, it doesn't look cakey, and it just wears really nicely. Again, it feels good. It doesn't feel like I have a bunch of makeup on my skin. It just feels like my skin, but it has pretty darn good coverage. I would say the coverage would be a medium, like a solid medium coverage to buildable. It's not right off the bat a full coverage foundation. I'd say it's definitely more of that medium coverage foundation. If you are using the Beauty Blender, it does sheer it out a little bit, so I always have to go in with 2 layers or just touch up in certain spots that I do want extra coverage, because I do have some hyperpigmentation. So all in all, I really do like this foundation. I think it is a great foundation from the drugstore. I know I'm going to get tons of questions like, why did you try a matte foundation when you have dry skin? Why wouldn't you go for a luminous foundation? Which, don't get me wrong, I love my luminous foundations. I love that hydrated, glowy look to my skin. But to be honest with you guys, some days I just really like to have a nice, even canvas. And I can really get that with a demi-matte or satin foundation. It just really evens out my skin tone. It gives me really, really good coverage, which I prefer more of a medium full coverage to full coverage foundation. And it just gives me a nice base to work with. I can always go back in and add highlighters or a luminous blush to my skin to make it look more radiant and dewy and alive. But sometimes I just really like to have an even base, and a demi-matte or satin foundation can do that for me. So that's why I did this review on the Pro Matte for dry skin. But I definitely think that this foundation is a go. I would definitely recommend it to you guys to go out and try it. Let me know what you guys think. If you have tried it out, in the comments below. I always love knowing your thoughts. If you guys have any foundation recommendations for me, please be sure to let me know those in the comments below as well. I have been trying so many foundations, like I said, so I have so many reviews planned for you guys. I've tried the Rimmel 25 Hour, I believe it's called, foundation, so I've been using that. I also have the Cover FX foundation that I've been trying out. So if you guys have any specific requests for foundation reviews, please let me know those as well. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch. I truly appreciate it, and I will talk to you guys in my next one. Bye!